We are here because we are dedicated to helping the entire CrossFit community. Determined to elevate coaches, box owners, athletes, and everything in between, we believe that this mission will begin right here, right now. While this time and this goal begins with you, our hope is that you take this fire ignited within you and weave it into your own life with the same unrelenting passion to give those you have the privilege of coming in contact with the best hour of their day.
All right, Fern, this day and age in CrossFit, I would say 90% of boxes have a coaching staff, at least one coach that's not the owner. Would you agree?
I would say that 95% of all statistics are made up.
I did make that up. So yes, that is
right.
lumped into
So my prediction is probably correct. So you're saying that a lot of gyms have staff.
I'm just saying most boxes have coaches.
Yeah, I think that's a safe assumption.
No, but the point is, when I opened, I was the only coach.
It's like saying most cars have wheels. You're like, yeah, that's kind of what makes it a car.
No, but when you opened CrossFit Rife, did you have a coaching staff?
We did. Yeah, we had like maybe like 2 or 3 people in addition to us. I think there might have been like 4 total.
Where'd they come from?
They left the previous gym that we were at.
So you were poaching members from other gyms is what was happening.
Yeah, I mean, is that not how you're supposed to do it?
No, this day and age.
Listen, I don't know if everybody knows this, but there's only so many people that are going to do CrossFit, right? So the best way to grow your gym is to take them from other gyms.
Yeah,
right. Just
cut your rates, decrease your rates, offer more classes.
Take rice from their bowl. Take rice from their bowl. Put it in your bowl. That's how it works.
No, but my point is, yes, most boxes have another coach, but there are still boxes that exist and the owner is the only coach. There are definitely boxes out there.
Very rare. I mean, if they do, they have such a limited class skills. But those are like unique, weird little gems these days that are like hole in the wall boxes that aren't even. I don't want to say fully functional boxes because they are, but like not in the sense that we're referring to like full up and running, fully functional businesses.
Remember what was the box we dropped into in Raleigh? That was like
in the 5 points or whatever. Was it 5 Point or is it
something corner? Barnes Corner?
Something like that. Or was her name Catherine?
I have to go back and watch.
Yeah.
People still don't know about it, but season 1 of Dropping In is on our YouTube channel where Fern and I dropped into 10 boxes in the Raleigh area. We took classes, we had some fun, we gave feedback. Definitely check it out. In 4
days, by the way.
We did all the workouts in 4 days. But yeah, go check it out. And in one of those boxes in that little area. But the reason I say that is because it's small, and I don't think there's anything
super small.
If I were going to open a box again, I don't think there's anything wrong with saying, hey, I'm going to have 3 classes a day. I'm going to be the only coach here. Depends on your goal. It might not, ever gross $1 million in revenue, but you can easily still make 6 figures in a model like that. Going on vacation's a little harder. Taking time off is a little harder. You'll need a coach. You'll need a second coach for situations like that. But there's nothing wrong with that model.
No, not if that's what you.
Yeah, I think boxes and affiliate owners kind of get wrapped up in, well, this is what we need, but bigger is better and more members, etc. I had a call with somebody the other day who was like, man, the box down the road, they have so many members, they're growing, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, if you looked at their, this Instagram post, which had 18 people in their class, 3 of them are coaches who have a free membership. 4 of them are the coaches, friends who get a discounted membership. 3 of the people are discounted members, and then 3 people are paying. So it's, it's not always what you see, especially on social media.
Right. I mean, the number of boxes that, who was the one that closed down last year that was like super shot? Was it Brick House or Brick, the one in Chicago?
Brick had a few locations, but they may have had one or Solace. Are you thinking about Solace?
No, there was one in Chicago. There was like CrossFit Brick that by all outward facing kind of assumptions was like doing great, and then they just folded that thing up and shut down shop overnight one day.
Well, yeah, it's like anything social media. Like that angle is not what that person really looks like. And
you mean if I turn like this, it gives me better?
Suck your cheeks in, lift the phone up over your head. And, and also that class that you see on there is probably not a direct reflection on how you can't say a box is successful, because again, that's also relative to what your goal is. If I wanted a box where I work 3 hours a day with minimal drama and not a lot of, overhead, then maybe that's what I want. So anyway, but the point is, yes, most boxes have coaching staff. And then one of the questions we get a lot from box owners is, well, how do I keep them motivated? Because, and we talked about this on a recent episode, the barrier to opening a CrossFit is low. It's your job as the box owner, but also as a coach, to give them a reason to stay here, because you're probably not paying them a ton, right? Maybe you're giving 15 or 20 a class. Most CrossFit coaches or trainers are doing this because they enjoy it. So, and then how do I motivate them, not just to be the best coach they can possibly be in that hour, but also to be a part of the community, i.e. come to my events, come to the crawfish boil, the super spreader event that Fern had in Virginia, or any other event.
You really like to just keep bringing that up, and by the way, nobody got COVID. It was amazing.
I know
everybody got fed. It was great. There's some of the best pictures. I think probably maybe some of the best pictures we've gotten in well over a year came from that event. Like just really like a lot of cool candid photos, like just that are like cool.
Do you do any like fun things at events like that, like naked twister or beer chugging or butt
is that
chugging?
fun? I don't know.
Butt chugging?
Naked twister and butt chugging. Like, what kind of parties did you go to as a youth?
I was in a fraternity when I was
right.
younger.
Yeah, we know. There's lots of paddle spanking and stuff. So like Foursquare. Have you ever played Foursquare?
Is that out? That's like a hand game. You play outside, like on a court. Yeah.
With a dodgeball essentially. Yeah, you play Foursquare. You can you could do all sorts of stuff. There's little games you can play with crawfish, and you have like people fight with crawfish and stuff. It's like stupid little games.
So they're dead, right? The crawfish are dead.
No, you can't boil dead crawfish. All right, everybody.
Dead, so once they're boiled, I was suggesting.
So you just
have like a pile of live animals.
We purchased 240 pounds of live. We purchased 240 pounds of live crawfish, because you cannot boil dead crawfish. So you have to purchase them live, which is why you have to have them shipped overnight. So little tip, everybody, if you ever go to a crawfish boil and you sit down to eat and you start to peel crawfish, so crawfish are like little tiny lobsters, essentially. That's what they look like. And if you pull one out and the tail is completely straight, don't eat it. That means it was dead before it was boiled. If the tail is curled, it's fine.
So you want it to be curled once it's edible, once it's time to eat.
Once it's time to eat, yeah. If you pull one out and you're getting ready to eat it and the tail is completely straight and extended, hey, we'll use coaching terms. Extension, not flexion. So flexion is good in crawfish world. Flexion is good. Extension is bad.
Loss of midline is what you want from your crawfish.
Right. I want loss of midline in order to eat the crawfish.
Why? What does that mean? What does it mean if their tail is extended?
It means it was dead prior to boiling it.
And that's bad.
Correct.
Maybe it died of natural causes.
It might have died from a super spreader event. We don't know.
Meta. The crawfish were having a super spreader event, and then you ate it. So how much in 1 pound of crawfish, how many crawfish would there be approximately?
So that depends. That depends on the time of the time of the season, and they come in like different sizes essentially. So it could be, I couldn't even tell you the differences, but like it depends. It could be a lot, or it could be 15 to 20, or it could be 30 to 40, depending on the size.
And that many. They're small relative to lobsters.
I mean, they're bigger than shrimp, and if you're eating in Louisiana, you can get some big ass crawfish, like really big. But this time of year, shipping overnight across the country, you're probably not going to get the big stuff.
Next time I'm at your house,
just be networking because you're not invited. Yeah.
Staying in my wing of the Fern Radisson, if you will.
Which is on the floor of Jappy's room.
I want some crawfish. I want to get the real deal. I want to get the Louisiana experience.
You do know there's a season, right?
Of crawfish is what you're saying?
Right. There's a crawfish season. So you don't eat crawfish year round. There's a season.
I did not
Yeah,
know
so there's a
that,
season.
but
It's basically March and April. It's Mardi Gras essentially, like March, April. You like into May a little bit too, but it's a fairly short season.
well, then
months.
good. You have a year to prepare for my crawfish boil.
I mean, we're having a crawfish boil. You may or may not show up. That's on you.
I'll be there. I'll be there this year. So going back to the coaching staff, let's talk about how a box owner can motivate their coaching staff on multi levels to improve as a coach, to be a bigger part of the community, and also just to be growing in general and wanting to be better. So because like I've said, it's not the $15 an hour for most of the coaching staff out there. They're not like, oh, this is a great job. I'm working 2 hours a week. I get paid $15 for those $30. I'm set. They're doing it because they love it. So what are some things we can do to motivate them outside of just paying them more?
So I think there's two conversations to be had here. The first one is the little bit larger picture, which is realistically, this is down the road for a lot of people, but this is kind of where I want people to shift their mindset, which is if you want to incentivize people to be coaches, make a job for them. And I don't mean a part-time job. I mean, grow the business such that you can offer them a legitimate opportunity to earn a living being a CrossFit coach and doing this thing. Because everybody does it the opposite way. They're just like, all right, I like this. I like Jay. He's around. Like his schedule's kind of flexible because he works from home. So then he fills in here and there. And then what I've got, if I really unpack this thing, is not a real business because it doesn't have actual employees in it that can do work. So that's the top of the heap. Like that's what you should be aiming for. And the way you do that is, and we'll talk more about this on different podcasts, but you have to make a job and put people in it versus making jobs around people that happen to have availability that work for you. So that's the first thing. Now, inside of that, the rest of these kind of strategies or tactics or incentives can be applied to part-time or full-time. It doesn't matter. Well, number one is continue. Yeah, go ahead.
No, and we spoke about this in a recent episode. Obviously, growing your business so you can provide these full job opportunities. Agreed. I don't think there's any, we're on the same page on that. So let's be a little more clear. I'm suggesting, how do we motivate your part-timers? Your people that either they have a full-time job outside of here, they have a family, they don't want more than 2 to 4 hours a week, etc. How do I keep those people motivated? Because again, speculating, numbers, etc. Think about, there's hundreds of thousands, maybe level 1 trainers out there, meaning you've taken the level 1 and you've passed the test. What percentage of those would you say are full-time versus part-time? And let's call part-time 8 hours of coaching or less per week. Those are your typical, hey, I have a job. I love CrossFit. I coach.
Probably high 90% are part-time.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So the full timers out there, if you're listening, great, but you're kind of motivated because it's your job now. Like you're expected to work harder.
Well, yeah, but that's kind of where I was going with that, is that like I don't think it should matter whether they're part-time or full-time. Everybody needs motivation. So we can apply the tactics to both of these, because just because they're full-time doesn't mean they don't need to be motivated. Doesn't mean they don't need to be managed to some degree and to dangle a carrot or give them opportunity or whatever. So you should do both. So there's probably like a couple different buckets. One is continuing education. The other one is pay. And then the third one is this kind of like real arbitrary bucket of like what I would call like attaboys, which is like different little things that are unique to your business. So like we're getting ready
attaboys. I like that.
Like, which is like, hey, like, cool, you did it. Like you get to put this feather in your hat which is unique to what we do. You know what I mean? So
give me a real world example.
So we're getting ready to do one. So everybody feel free to steal it. So remember when you joined seminar staff, and then you went from the black shirt, so you're an intern, and then you got your
red shirt,
and then what was the one you wanted after that?
After a red shirt? Is there one after? This is how advanced you are. I don't even know what comes after. I mean, I would assume you're referring to become flow master.
Well, no, remember when they had blue shirts for level 2?
Oh shit! Yeah, you're right. Nowadays, those are red shirts, but that was
now
a big
they're red
deal.
shirts too.
I remember when I
but
got
back in the day, the blue shirt was a fucking big deal. So like, I actually like made it on like as they were shifting. So this is I actually got a blue shirt from somebody else. It's like, I fucking want that shirt.
Yeah, I think I remember seeing you had one somewhere. Do you have a blue shirt?
I have them. I have in the lounge that we have here. I have like 3 of them hung up. So I have my red shirt that has the signatures of I think it was the first level 1 that we ever hosted here. I had every participant sign the shirt and the red shirt, and then I have my original like gray CrossFit level 1 shirt that I got as a participant that Coach
that was old school. Yeah,
that Coach Glassman signed, and then I have the level 2 shirt all framed in the lounge in there. Yeah.
Remember back in the day when we were on staff, like the t-shirts would show up in advance, and we'd have to give those out.
Yep.
Nowadays, you get I don't know what it's going to turn into.
I don't know what they're going to get now. Yeah.
Yeah, you got a $25 certificate to Reebok, which basically bought you a shirt. Did you order your Nobles yet?
I did.
Yeah, I'm waiting on mine.
It said a significant backlog, and I was just like, well, not off to a good start, guys.
Well, aside from Noble, big news for the listeners. Fern finally ordered his Doc Spartan. So Dale,
all caffeine. I just ordered everything that had caffeine in it.
I got the coffee stuff that Dale was talking about. It's legit. It comes in like almost like this pen with a roller on the end. You rub. I mean, you were telling me beforehand how youthful I look and how great my eyes look right before we hit record. I should have hit record.
You look like. Speaking of crawfish, you look like a crawfish right now. Your face is so red.
I'm extra red right now.
I don't know if I want any of these. I don't know if I want these products. If it's going to make me look like a crawfish.
But it got really sunny in Colorado, and I didn't realize it. But I did order the sunscreen from Doc Spartan, but Fern ordered stuff. So
day late and dollars short.
For those of you used to seeing Fern looking, some would say haggard, or whatnot, he's going to start to look better. So if you only listen to the podcast,
just so everybody knows, this is what's referred to as projecting onto other people. Jay's insecurities with regard to himself is projecting onto me. So
I'm excited. I'm excited to get a little gray, by the way.
I'm not. I have no desire.
I want to get a little salt and pepper, maybe, because
nope.
I was talking to one of our clients, and my 6 o'clock on Mondays is almost exclusively like teenagers, boys and girls, like 13, and I love them. They're fun. Like they're at that perfect age where they kind of get a sense of humor, and you can goof on them, and they give it back to you. But I think part of the reason they enjoy me so much is because I'm short, and short just means young to kids. So I think if I got a little gray, they may be like, "Oh, he's a little older." But I love my teenage class. They're
probably not. They're still going to walk. They're still literally and figuratively going to walk all over you.
Yeah, but I love them. And by the way, if you do want that espresso stuff for your eyes, go to DocSpartan.com. Code BESTHOUR, 15% off. My entire drawer is full with Doc Spartan gear. I don't know what the term is.
Products.
Products. There we go. Let me tell a funny story, though.
Dale, you need a new pitch, man. Let me tell you that.
Dale is the man. I was coaching last night, and she's 14. She's so funny. Her name is Solana. And actually, they're doing a section in their high school yearbook for the kids that go to CrossFit affiliates in the area. So that's kind of cool. Yeah, her mom came in, was taking pictures of her. But so we were doing, there was a box out from the previous class because we were going to do some box jumps. And it was the 30-inch box set up 3-sided. And she's like, Jason, are there shorter boxes? And I was like, Solana, I'm going to let you figure this one out. I was like, I'm good. You could do it. I said to her,
I
I was like,
believe
I'm
in you.
confident. I believe in you. And she literally took her like a minute. She's staring. She's like, what do you mean? Like, what do I do? Solana, you got this. You can do it. And then it was like a light bulb went off above her head and she tipped the box. And I was like, I'm so proud of you. So I knew you could
You're
do
gonna
it.
make it far in life. You're gonna be
Yeah.
good.
She's so funny because it's amazing teenagers, the difference. There's two girls that are 14 and two boys that are 14. And
Oh,
you
the
would say
girls
they're
are
like
way
10 years
advanced.
apart.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
girls are
you're like
way more advanced as teenagers.
the girls get my sense of humor better. They give it back to you better. The boys are just like thinking about video games. It's so funny to see. So anyway,
Back to where we're going with the t-shirts. If anybody wants to rewind and figure out how we got to that, but back to the t-shirts. So we're instituting something here with regard to incentivizing, right? So, I do have the ability to get people through level 1, level 2. So that's an incentive. And then I'll pay for the level 3. So that's an incentive. And then
you pay for your coaches level 3?
Correct.
Cool. That's great.
Yeah. Because I want them to get it, and so I have 2 that are on the cusp. I think 2. So we'll have 2. Yeah, I have 2 that are on the cusp that are basically studying for it now. That I'm very confident we'll get that before the end of the year. At which point that'll put us at 5, and then.
So it's now. It's you, Lindsay, Cassidy as level 3s.
Correct.
So how many? Who's a level 4 on your staff? Anybody?
No, it's because there's no level 4. No, I want somebody who's legit. I want somebody who actually got a credential and wasn't just handed a piece of paper, basically. So,
hey, yeah. People like being around me. Here's your level 4.
Yeah. So so what we did was I created something, and they don't know this. So I mean, whoever listens to the podcast, they might find this out early, but it doesn't matter.
Lindsay secretly listens to every.
Yeah, she's standing outside the door right now. But we'll do the same thing for shirts. So different color shirts for level 1, level 2, level 3, and then we'll put like their Roman numeral hash marks on the sleeve of the shirt. So, but they'll all be
representing the 1, 2, or 3.
Yeah, and they'll all be different colors. So you won't be able to get the other one until you get the credential.
And that's the coach's shirt,
right?
Well, let me ask you a question.
So if you want the red one, you got to pass the course. So this is where like peer pressure comes in and be like, listen, you want to play with the big boys, like you got to get in there and you got to get that. Otherwise, like you're just going to be an old blue shirt, if that's the way you want to live your life.
So in other words, I show up to CrossFit Rife, apply recent level 1. I get a blue CrossFit Rife coaching staff shirt.
So the way we have it lined up is it goes black is level 1, blue is level 2, red is level 3, and then when the level 4 comes on, I will make a level 4 shirt. I will absolutely do that and have a.
So just send me mine now if you want.
No, you're gonna have to take the level 4. Like I want to legit see you actually coach a class.
I would crush the level 4 test again. But anyway, so
Solana would say differently. Yeah.
She's so funny, that kid. So now your members know their level.
Correct. Well, so it's twofold, right? So we want the members to know that there is a hierarchy, and that I want them to know, because I want it to be. This is how, because I want it because a lot of people look at this a little bit differently. They're just like, well, now they're going to know that they're just a level 2, and I'm like, yeah, but I want everybody to fucking celebrate when that person becomes a level 3, because that's going to happen. So I want that to be a big deal when they've seen so and so wearing a blue shirt for 2 years, and they come in one day and do a presentation, because I think if you pass level 3, that's a big deal, that we do that in front of the members and let them know, be like, listen, the coaching staff here, they care, they're putting in the time to be better. So, this is the culture thing that we're talking about in the community aspect of it. Like, this is one small piece of that. And I think that's an incentive. That's a way to incentivize people's inner drive to be better, which is like when they put that shirt on, they're going to be proud of that shirt. Even far after they leave CrossFit Rife, they're like, I'm holding on to that shirt. That shirt means a lot to me.
Yeah, no, I think that's, a great example of what we're talking about. How do you motivate them? So yeah, incentivize
like the fact that I have those shirts framed in there, like those shirts mean a lot to me because I put in a lot of work to get those shirts.
Yeah, I think that's great. So you're incentivizing in that way of, education. You're not only and what you're also saying there is you're paying for their education, their continuing education, which is important. It's hard. box owners get frustrated and like, man, this coach doesn't want to get their level 2. It's like, they're getting paid $20 an hour. It takes 50 classes or whatever the math is for them to afford their level 2, right? Like at some point, regardless of how much you care about coaching, that's a huge number of hours you have to work to develop. I think it's important that box owners help their coaches develop. And whether it's, every box is different. I get it, $1,000 is $1,000, but whether it's, I pay for it all, I pay for half, I pay for it and allow you to work it off, but maybe not having to come out of pocket for something like that.
This is where I want everybody to stop doing this. Like, just pay for it, figure it out.
You say no matter what.
I think this is if I want people to be invested in the business, like you need to invest in them. Like, I don't know, like this weird thing in the CrossFit community, which is like, if I do this for you, then you owe me. And I'm like, no, they don't owe you shit. Like, this is your job as a leader, is to help them, bring them up and give them opportunity and not expect anything in return. Like, that's how leadership works, is I give, and in return, they will do a good job. So no, I don't think that there should be a barter here. Just like, well, if you do this, then you do it. Like, no, there's ways to play around with that. Like, if it is a pass-fail test, you can be like, listen, I'm not going to foot the bill for this, but if you pass, I will reimburse you because I want you to have some skin in the game. You can go that route. Or if you want them to get their level 2 or their level 1, and you don't want to pay for it, like put in requests into host, and then you can get them in there, and then you can use a scholarship spot for that, or host a specialty seminar and give them that education via that way. If you get a scholarship spot for that, whether it's a kids course or an aerobic capacity course, or like, be resourceful or split the difference. Do something. Be like, hey, but I just think I want everybody to stop the whole barter system, which is, if I do this for you, then you owe me. And I'm like, no, just do it, because that's what you should do.
Yeah, I love it. And it's like we've been saying, it's hard. It's harder for you to get mad too. Like, some of those things are, oh, this is stressing me out. Well, if you took some ownership and responsibility, it will stress you out less, because now you've basically removed the barrier for a lot of people to go take that next level, be it 2, 3, or whatever course it is. So yeah, I love it. And put it in your budget, put it in your, in something, because really that's what's going to help grow your
You're talking about
staff.
$50 a month for 6 months pays for somebody level 3. Like what are we talking about? Like, you're just not planning and not trying, right? And I hate to poke people in the eye, but like, that's the truth. Like, stop making excuses. You're not budgeting. Going back to what we were talking about before, like, it's not okay to break even. If you're breaking even, then you can't do these things, and you can't put aside $50 a month to invest in your coach's, future and their education. $50 like gives you either half a level 1 or half a level 2, which most people would be totally down with. Right? Like, cool, thank you for reducing the cost on me. But like, hey, I've got 50% towards that, and it's going to take me 6 months, and I can put 2 coaches through that, or put 2 coaches through their level 3. So, I want people to think about it from that point of view, that like, this whole thing revolves around like you striving for success and striving to do these things, which allows you to bring more opportunity to other people.
If someone goes and takes their level 2, they are going to become such a better coach, not just from the feedback that they got there for a lot of people, it's, it reinvigorates them. It shows them the potential, because they're going to see coaches that are better than they are, and they didn't realize they can become that good. And if you have a coach that wants to go take their level 2, passes the test after, they're just going to be better for your staff and better for your community. I don't think the average person walking into your box has no idea what the difference between a level 1 and level 2 coach is, but it becomes apparent in time when you experience those coaches. If you go to a box that's all level 1 trainers, and then you go to a box like Rife that has a bunch of level 3s on there, they're going to experience a very different product. And it's,
well, outside of that, like that, it's your job. It's your job. Like, your members don't know the difference. Hey, guess what, everybody? It's your job to educate them on what the difference is, and let them know that level 2 is a big deal. Level 3 is a big deal. Like, it's not their job to go, level 4 is a fake credential. Like, let them know that too, So, but my point is that like it's part of, again, like, if you want to use the the story brand, which is like, make your coaches the hero, like elevate them so that people see them as experts. Like that is your job as a leader, is to be like, this guy can cut the mustard. Like he's good enough. He went through this. He got this credential here. You guys have seen it work. Like this took 3 years, like make a big deal about it, because it is a big deal. There's like, what is it? Like 1% of trainers out there like have a level 3, something along those lines.
It's very
It's
low.
not a lot.
It's
I want to say it's like 1,500. Yeah, it's like something like 1,500 ish, and there's well over 200,000 level 1 trainers.
Yeah, I think it's less than 1%, but that's a great example as well. If we're talking about motivating your staff, yeah, spotlight them, show them off. Put them on. If maybe it's once a week, you showcase one of your coaches, something they did. Whether it's, yes, certainly. I mean, you see it on CrossFit training. They put up everyone that passes the level 3. That's how important and impressive it is. So if you own a box and your coach passes their level 3 or level 2, yeah, showcase that, put that out there, and constantly, I think that's something that gets overlooked. I had a call with one of my clients, and they were raving about one of their coaches because they're doing our coaches development and they're learning so much. And I was like, this is great that you're telling me, tell them. And I think that's something we forget as leaders. Like, praise them, and not just individually. Like, hey, people are really saying nice things about publicly. What's that expression? Like,
praise in public, punish in private.
Right. And that's especially with coach. I mean, like we're going back to, they're doing it for $15. They're not doing it for the pay. They're doing it because they love helping others, but also there's an aspect of recognition. Like, be a part of that recognition, show them.
Everybody wants that.
Yeah. If somebody gets their first muscle up in your class, spotlight them, but then spotlight the coach that, they came back from their level 1 and used the level 1 progression, and all of a sudden so-and-so got their first muscle up, or they came back from their level 2 and man, everybody's moving so great. You need to, motivate them in that role. What are some other ways you can think about? Let's go free, right? We've talked about paying for this.
That was my next one.
What were you going to say?
Just give them feedback, help them develop. So we've got, I've got an intern in here who, we'll see at the end of the month, but we basically put him on a plan, and I told him, I'm like, listen, your job for the next month is to set up small group training. And then myself, Lindsay, or Cassidy will be there to facilitate the small group training. So we're going to help you. This expectation that everybody is just a self-starter and they know the answers and they know how to get to the finish line is foolish. Like, help people. This is the whole adage of like, hey, send the elevator back down so that you're not sitting on the top floor by yourself. Like, send the elevator back down so you can bring other people up with you. So he's got his first small group, because I was like, hey, one minimum should be running 2 small, an hour-long groups a week for the next month, including to being an assistant coach in this many classes this month. And I was like, your job is to book it. Our job is to come in there and help you. So like Wednesday, I'm going to be in there with him for an hour, just running through small group stuff in a controlled environment with 7 of our members. And he'll have no problem booking that and bringing on members to help do that. Like Cassidy did it multiple times a week for months before he interned on seminar staff. So they will appreciate that, because they will see the fruits of their labor and they will become more comfortable on the floor, and people will comment. The people will comment on it, be like, man, that he's like really made great strides over the last month. And be like, yeah, he's put in the work. So help them by giving them those opportunities, so I'll be in there with him. Lindsay will be in there, help him. Cassidy's going to help him, but he set me up. He's like, hey, does Wednesday at 5 p.m. work? I was like, I'm free, book it. I'll be there.
I love it. And like we were saying, coaches are doing this because it's a skill and they want to get better at it. It's, it's basically a passion project for many coaches. If your coach is there for 2 to 4 hours a week, yeah, I'd say there's a handful of coaches that do it because it's a free membership. My wife gets to come in. That's a perk. But, time is valuable. And if they're coming in consistently, showing up on time and putting the work in and working hard to be the best coach they can be, they're doing it because they want to improve. Now, let's flip it. If you're a coach and you're hearing this and you're thinking to myself, man, my coach or my box owner doesn't do this, they're not giving me what I need. Okay, we accept that. Not all owners do this, which could be a problem, but right. I would tell you first and foremost, as the trainer, as the coach, speak to them about it. Take ownership in your own. What's that?
Start with free. You set up the small group and ask the owner to come give you some feedback.
Yes. don't get mad at the owner for not doing it if you're not asking for it. It's your typical, like, I'm angry with this because I'm not getting what I want. Well, they don't know what you want. If you want to develop and you want to grow, first of all, find a box that suits you. Maybe the box you're going to is not that box, but have that conversation with the owner and say, look, I want to eventually attain my level 2, my level 3. I want to develop and improve. Can you help me? And until you've done that, it's not really fair. I don't know if that's the right word, but it's,
Well, it's this notion that like people are just going to come along and randomly help me while I'm not doing anything to really help myself is kind of, I don't know how to say stupid, but it's kind of stupid. Like you should be helping yourself. You should be putting in all the work as a coach so that people want to help you. They're just like, man, that dude's like hustling over there. Like, let me help him out. Let me help her out. Like she is getting after it. Like she deserves help. So maybe you don't deserve help. Like that's the real conversation. Like if you're not doing anything, then I don't think you deserve help.
Yeah. Don't show up, do the bare minimum, and then get frustrated that you're not getting help or feedback or growth. But if you're showing up consistently and putting the work in, have that conversation. And then again, the tough part about that is, maybe this isn't the right box for you. A lot of owners simply have their level 1. And then, surprisingly, like their coaches aren't developing. Well, because they're not developing. If
Right.
they need to seek out feedback as well. And that might be going to a different box, which takes putting your ego aside. That's something we've told box owners to do. Hey, there's a box down the road. We know them. They're on seminar staff or they have their level 3. Go there and get some feedback. You need to grow as well. So if you're a box owner, your development is just as important. And with that being said, leading by example. Don't expect your coaching staff to want to improve if you're not wanting to improve. We've talked about how one of our biggest pet peeves is when a level 1 trainer, their certificate's about to expire and like, should I take my level 1 again or should I take my level 2? Well, if it's not obvious to you that you should take your level 2, you don't want to improve.
That's part of the problem. Yeah. Yeah, it's part of the problem. So the only other thing you could maybe throw in there is like give them incentive, like so we'll do discounts for spouses, like spouses, not girlfriends, boyfriends, spouses. So, but and other people are like, well, how much? I'm like, that depends. That's a longer discussion about like how many you have, all that kind of stuff. So not how many spouses you have, how many coaches you have that have spouses. So
where do you draw the line? Is it like I have to present to you my marriage certificate, or if I'm in a long-term relationship, is that acceptable?
Well, here at CrossFit Rifle, unless I married you, then you don't get it. Yeah.
You actually do the marriage.
I did. Yeah. I've done a couple marriages, but no. Yeah. Yeah. You just need to be married. Like, don't lie about being married.
You may now kiss the bride, and by the way, save 50%.
And by the way, save 50% on CrossFit, right? And that's where people are like, "Oh my God, it's the greatest day of my life." Yeah. So
I'm gonna get married.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, point is, there's lots of ways to motivate your coaches, and if you're not thinking about that regularly, you're going to be at a dead end. You have to develop, and we've talked about this before. Your coaching staff is really going to be what influences the growth of your box. The more your members are coming in, and the more satisfied they are with the product, the coaches, and they see it. They know when your coaches are complacent. They know when your coaches are putting in the work. So motivate your coaching staff so you can then help provide the best hour of their day to your members. That's what it's all about. Right, Fern?
That's right.
That's it? Yes, right?
That's it. Yeah, I thought, your entire life is based on you overall wanting my approval, so I was giving it to you.
I appreciate that. I feel better about myself now. I'm getting that approval. Thank you.
So you never miss an episode of the podcast, subscribe to our YouTube channel and on all major podcasting platforms at Best Hour of Their Day. Thank you so much for tuning in and for being a part of the best hour of our day. See you next time.